Welcome back, everybody. And today in Live with Zelda, I have a really special guest, a topic that I know is so relevant for today. Today I have Michelle Dubort, and she is the site agent over at Dreamfinders. I love Dreamfinders homes. I know that our broker just sold one, so yay.
Nice, yay.
So she is going to talk to us about all the things that are happening with new construction. I know how much of a challenge that is. So we're going to address some of those issues and see if we can get some of your questions answered. So welcome, Michelle.
Thank you so much for having me, Zelda.
I'm so glad that you're here. So tell me, how did you get in with Dreamfinders, decide to get into real estate? What was your journey?
Oh, goodness. I actually started in warranty many years ago for a nationwide builder, and that was before the downturn. The bubble, as we like to call it. Yes. And then many years later, life kind of led me back into real estate. And I ended up getting licensed in Alabama.
Okay.
And then the former employer called me back home. And I was able to come back to Florida, and I absolutely love it. I really do. And I've been doing real estate ever since.
Yay.
Yeah, so
and business is booming, isn't it?
It's crazy right now.
It's crazy. I know y'all have a new place, new community you're building out. I think it's Cordova.
Cordova Palms.
Cordova
yes.
Palms. Very nice. That's the one he sold a brand new home out there.
Oh, nice.
So that was pretty cool.
One of our up-and-coming ones, yes.
Yes, it is. It's like the dirt's still there and nothing else, everyone. So, but you might want to go out and check it out. So let's just talk in generic forms about what's going on in new construction. You've been involved with new construction for how long?
10 plus years.
Okay, so you are the expert. You are the expert. So tell me, first of all, what is the role? I mean, you come in to a model home or a new community. They're looking for homes, they're driving by, they see them, and the first person they're going to see is you, what's called a site agent.
Yes.
So tell us what the role of a site agent is.
It's really to find out what exactly what's on their wish list, and what they really need. And we have to sort of differentiate, and everyone has to compromise on something.
Yes.
It's even in today's world with, all the crazy sales, everybody has to compromise on something. And so we help sort of decipher the wants and the needs and find the good middle ground and kind of guide the buyer sort of like an advisor in a way.
True. And in fact, I think probably one of the biggest things is I have to teach the buyer is when you walk in and they give you this price for a house, you have to understand that's just the beginning point. There's also a lot involved, and so they don't include the lot prices.
Right. So a good trick, especially today with the craziness going on, the better question is, what's the true out-the-door cost for this design? And site agents really know and have an idea, comprehension of what the out-the-door price. We sell so many of them that we know this design sells for this price range and this design sells for this price range. And so we kind of guide you, and that's a more efficient use or better question for everyone.
Except, I know when I take them there,
Yes.
one of the first things I tell them, you probably know what's coming, is, okay, you're looking at a model home, people. They have put another 100,000 or more into upgrades. So this is not the house you're getting. This is the bones you're getting.
Yes.
And then that tile that you love, no, it's going to be a carpet. That backsplash, no, you're not getting a backsplash.
Yes.
Or different grades. So address design centers and how that plays into the effect of the cost.
So there's a percentage, and every builder has a different percentage based on the design of the home. So like I said earlier, with our company in particular, we have an idea of what people are spending at the design studio for each particular design. And so we're able to tell the buyer, okay, here's your base price, but this is expect to spend $20,000 at the design studio. That's an ideal number. Can you go above that? Can you go below that? Absolutely. But we are versed enough to kind of gauge a price range to give the buyer. a
so
realistic
that they know.
price.
So another issue that I've had with buyers, so I'm just going to pick your brain.
Go for it.
Is, well, there's a couple, but they want to see, I try to teach them, go look at the design center. You like this home. This is the one you want. Let's go look at the design center so that you can see the different levels. Like there's a level 1 granites, there's level 2, there's level 1 quartzes and floors and all of these different levels all the way to 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Who knows? They go way up.
Yes.
And of course we know level 1 is the bottom of the barrel. And not that that's bad because they're nice, but they don't understand that. So I like them when they're budgeting because everybody has a budget. No matter how poor or rich you are, you have a budget.
Yes.
So I try to get them to go to the design center before they sign on the dotted line so that they can look at different levels so that when they are ready to sign on the dotted line, they know, okay, I want you to put into the price on this contract that I'm going to go for a level 3 for this, and I'm going to go for a level 1 with the floors, and so they can pick and choose so they have a much better narrowed down idea of what they're actually spending. So the question is, do builders allow you to go to the design center? And I know you can't speak to all, but maybe dream finders allow you to go and kind of see what there is that you offer?
So that's a really great question. And at this time, no.
Okay.
You have to be under contract in order to attend a design preview night. And another great little nugget is a lot of builders, because we're having to order the material so far in advance, a lot of the homes are quote unquote spec'd. And so the builders are basically determining what the popular items are, selections, and that's what they're putting in these homes. And that's sort of a trend that you will see in this
Can you
market.
explain that a little bit further?
Yes. So, for instance, at my community, majority of the buyers that did have the opportunity to go to the design studio, we know that they're picking basically white cabinets, gray cabinets. And I always emphasize, it looks like Joanna Gaines, right? That's who made the white.
But there's different levels of that white and the gray.
Yes. And so most buyers were picking like a level 1, for instance. And that's more than enough with our particular company. And so we haven't advised the design team, hey, go ahead in the future homes that we're basically pre-selecting everything for our buyers. This is what sells at this location. Just put that in the homes. And so it makes it significantly easier because it streamlines it and it's more efficient, and it's already in selections that most of our buyers were already selecting to begin with.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do many of them go for the more upgrades? Or is that where that 20,000 comes in?
That's where that 20,000 comes in. So like I said earlier, as a consultant, I know most buyers in our community are putting in whites and grays. Is that what you're interested in? Mm-hmm. Okay, I want you to focus on this price range. If I know a buyer has very specific taste and they want something in particular, I can sort of, because I've been doing this long enough, say...
People don't even realize that the front door can be an upgrade.
Yes.
So, do you like a glass insert? Okay, well then we know we need to add a little bit for those glass inserts. These are the little things that buyers are not really necessarily aware of.
Yes.
And they don't know to ask these things either. So, which brings me to this question. I'm going to change gears a minute.
Okay.
What parts, if any, and let me not get off track there for a second. All builders are not the same, because I have been able to, most of them are saying exactly what Michelle is saying, which is, no, you can't go into the design center unless you sign a contract first. Well, I'm going to tell you they're not all that way, okay? Because I've played hardball with a few of them and said, we're not signing this contract, as in my customer isn't, unless you let them go look. And they were more than happy to let them. And nobody bothered us. The room, the design center was filled with people. And we were there probably 30 minutes, and I was just schooling them on this is what, because they had never built a home before.
Right.
So I was just helping them out. And then, of course, the next week, because this was over a weekend, they went and they signed the contract. Mm-hmm. Because for that customer, they felt more at ease now that they had a little bit more education on what happens in the design center.
Yes.
So I would still say try to negotiate that.
Yes.
Try to negotiate that.
Yes.
But the rule of thumb is you're not going in for most of the builders. And that really started with COVID, I think. Not necessarily because of the lack of shortage of materials. It was because of COVID.
Absolutely.
So what parts, if any, and I know we're talking dream finders here.
Okay.
But maybe just in general, because I'm sure you have your finger on the pulse for all of them.
Yes.
What parts, if any, are negotiable on the price? Because I tell people the price is the price of the house. But some people will say, well, you might be able to negotiate a little bit on the lot. Is that true?
Oh, gosh. Trick question.
No, it's just an honest question. I mean, it's like, I'm not trying to put you on the spot.
You're good. So previously, like early on, when the pandemic first hit, yes, you could sort of tweak and ask for an incentive and,
Oh, there were lots of incentives.
Back then.
Yeah.
Today, the market is so different from it was 2 years ago. And it typically, that is the price. And there's very few builders offering incentives.
Yes.
Very few. Now, every builder typically has their own preferred lender, and the incentives come from the lending side more so than the builder side.
So the lenders are really the ones who are contributing the funds when they say we'll give you $10,000 towards your design center or whatever. It's really not coming from the builder then, it's coming from the lenders?
Correct. So it's usually they'll apply, like for instance, with our company, we cover closing costs. And closing costs in today's day and age is at least $10,000.
At least.
That's a huge savings for most buyers. So that's one less thing that they're paying for. And so that's, in our case, their incentive.
Okay. Yeah. I won't go there because I don't want to put you on the spot because I know they throw everything into the bucket. This is the buyers, this is the sellers, and no.
Yes.
Yeah. So there are tricks to the trade of that. So so that brings me very good segue to, okay, so customer comes in, the pros and the cons, I'm sure there's some, of bringing their own realtor in. I always say the builder is paying the salary of the site agent. So that's where the fiduciary relationship is to their builder. Not that they're going to treat you bad because they're not. They want to do well for you. They want you to love the community. But by bringing in your own realtor, it doesn't hurt you. People think it's going to save them money. It isn't going to save them money. But our relationship is we have a fiduciary responsibility to that buyer. So can you address bringing in your own realtor?
I'm a huge advocate of buyers bringing their own realtors. It's a partnership, and it really does help the entire process. And you're correct. It's so funny how people just don't know how we get paid.
But they know how we get paid.
Yes.
So we're going to cut her out, and we're just not going to bring her. They don't realize you just hurt yourself.
Yes, I am such a proponent of buyers bringing in their realtor, their agent, because it does make the entire process significantly smoother. And there may be at points where I have to call buyers and say, hey, XYZ, this just happened. And when you have somebody else that's solely representing you, the buyer, it's two people telling you the same thing, not just one.
Yes.
And so to me, it's a game changer. I'm such an advocate of buyers coming in with realtors.
Lovely to hear this. So it's not going to save you any money. In fact, well, it might, because we might have some questions. I had a customer who, I didn't help her, but she said, I brought in a realtor and they didn't ask me the right questions, or didn't ask the site agent some of the questions that I'm finding out now. So not only bring in a realtor, but bring in the right realtor.
Yes.
One that has worked with new construction and knows the questions to ask, like, where is this lot? Is this, how much more is this lot than that lot? And what's going on in that preserve behind there? Can something be built? And is there more than just an HOA fee? Is there a master HOA fee? All these kinds of questions that you don't think to ask. And if you have a realtor who has never worked with new construction, they don't know to ask it either.
It's so true. All of the above. So true.
Go Zelda.
So true.
Go Zelda. So let's address the elephant in the room, the lack of probably skilled labor, materials. Talk to us a little bit. What's going on with all of that? Is it getting any better? What's going on?
Oh, gosh. Great question. And truthfully, it's not getting any better.
Oh.
It just isn't. Even before the pandemic, we had such a strong demand, especially in this market. Yes, we were it was growing, but the pandemic basically magnified the entire situation. There's so many people moving, and there really is a labor and material shortage. And so it's created sort of a bottleneck. And we don't know when this will all end. I mean, if you go to the grocery store, there's shortages at the grocery store. You go, to a restaurant, and there's a shortage of waiters and waitresses. You have to wait. Mm-hmm. And so construction is no different. And
no end in sight.
No end in sight. I remember last year it was window delays.
Yes, and appliances.
Yes.
Are those still on delay?
No. So now it's something
what?
different.
Now what's on delay?
Now it's like electrical stuff.
Okay.
So it's so fascinating that every time you overcome one, it's something else. And we're all sort of learning as we go. Every builder in town is experiencing something. We're all overcoming it. We're genuinely all in it together. And the biggest suggestion I have is be flexible. Just be flexible.
You have to be. I know that I recently thought, I'm going to get a little splash pool. I call them a cocktail pool.
Yes.
I thought, I'm going to get a pool. Mm-hmm. Everybody's building pools now. I live out in Nocatee. I tell everybody I live in Nocatee. So my kids are all like, what do you need a pool for? There's a million of them here. It's like, I want my own little private pool. So I called a gazillion pool builders. First of all, they don't answer their phones. Mm-hmm. And then the ones that did say, we don't have any labor, we don't have any materials, we're booking them a year in advance or a year and a half in advance, and we're not quoting prices because, we don't know the cost. And then finally, I did get one who said, well, we're booking 5 months out, but the pool that you're looking for is going to cost as much as a regular pool because labor and materials, they have minimums. So It sounds like it's not just the housing, it's everything to do with new construction. Anything is experiencing this.
Oh, absolutely. It genuinely is. And it doesn't matter what vendor it is.
No.
We're all in
the same boat.
Yes. I call it the struggle bus.
Yeah, it is the struggle bus. It is. So there's the only incentives then for buyers these days is the banks.
Correct.
Okay.
Absolutely. Typically. For the most part, there's bidding wars,
Yes, and that's what I wanted to ask you about, the bidding wars. So there's bidding wars all over the place. It's like, I want this house and I'll bid X, and then there's somebody else. And that's not just for resale. That's also happening in new construction.
Yes.
They're bidding on the lot or the house or whatever. It's absolutely nuts. For the buyer, it's great for the people who already live in the community because it means those appraisals are going to be much higher. So it's a double-edged sword there. Mm-hmm. How are y'all working that out? Do y'all do lottery? I know there's a company in Daytona that does lotteries.
We are now lottery.
You're lottery.
This just happened. I mean,
that's better than bidding.
Bidding, yes.
That's better than bidding. For the buyer, it's better.
It is better. Basically, with our company, a buyer submits a form, they send an email, and there's a cutoff. You have to send the email by Sunday afternoon, for instance, or Saturday afternoon. And then basically our leadership team makes a decision, and it's called the lottery system if there's multiple buyers interested in a specific home. Now,
so it's not names in a hat.
No.
Okay, because that's what the one in a little bit south of here is doing. They're literally putting the names in a hat, and it's your turn. It's your, and they pull out. They've got so many home sites that have been released.
Yes.
And they pull the names out of the hat, and that's who gets first options.
And every builder is handling it differently. So there's no two builders alike, and it has to be overwhelming for buyers because they go to one place and we're doing it this way, and the next place is we're doing it this way. Hence why you really need a great realtor, because they're well versed and they understand it, and they will soothe the anxiety alone. Everybody's doing it differently, and it is overwhelming.
So I heard, and this wasn't in Jacksonville, this was in Orlando area. I have a client there, and he says, well, I was told, come to this new development, but do not bring your realtor, because if you do, we have to adjust our price. Yeah, I heard that. And I was like, what? So basically the price goes up if you bring your own realtor. So they're pricing the homes a little bit lower. I mean, have you ever heard of that? I'd never heard of anything like that. I said, I don't even know if that's legal.
Yeah, I don't know. No, that's a first.
I know.
But
that's not here in Jacksonville or St. John's. It's there.
Yeah, that's
Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy, but it's just we're all in this crazy time. And every day, no matter how long we've been in the business, every day you learn something new. And it's constantly changing. On a daily basis, I get calls from the realtor. They'll call me on a Wednesday afternoon because they have buyers coming in over the weekend. And by the time they get to my office on Saturday, the rules have completely changed.
Yeah.
It really is that way.
It's kind of like when somebody calls me for the first time and they want a house and they said, can I see it Saturday? And it's Monday. I'm like, yeah, but it won't be here on Saturday.
That is 100% correct.
It's like, no, you have to, so if you sleep on it tonight, somebody else slept on it last night.
Yes, it's so
we
true.
used to say that in retail. It's like.
So true, though.
It is true.
It is.
It is. So what else are you seeing happening in new construction that you can, or in particular, Dean Finders, where are y'all building at? What's the average cost of a new home? And
oh, gosh. So it does vary by location. And I will say that I like to say Cliff Notes version of what is going on. For instance, if you're using I-95 as a point of reference, one exit, that's only 5 miles, the price can jump $50,000, $75,000, and it's only
the further away you get from the interstate?
Well, not necessarily. If you're just using the interstate, as you know, we have a lot of people moving in from out of state.
Right.
And so one exit, which is only typically 5 miles apart, as an example.
Okay.
World Golf Village area
yes.
to County Road 210, the prices jump about $50,000 to $75,000, depending on which community you're at. So we're all in St. Johns County, it's St. Augustine, but the prices do jump considerably based on the location. What am I seeing differently on a positive note?
Yay!
Is that most builders are going this, like, we're speccing them out. So we are basically already installing what most buyers already want in these homes. Mm-hmm. So the build times are significantly less.
Okay.
They're shortened. So
that you're not seeing, I mean, I've got one customer that I sold him a new construction in St. John's, mm-hmm. and they told him, the contract was for 24 months, and you know what? It's taking 24 months. Yes. It's ridiculous.
Yes. And it depends on when they went under contract, what type of home they're building. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the more custom it is, the longer the build time will be. Okay,
because it is a custom home.
Yep, the longer the build time will be. But for the most part, a lot of the builders sort of changed gears sometime last year. And so the buyers are now, their build times are shortened. Because, like, for instance, our company, we won't sell a home unless the framing package is actually on site. So in essence, the home's already started.
Wow, that's right there. Yeah, yes. That's great.
So you're under construction for 4 months, maybe?
Well, that's incredible.
Yeah.
That's back to normal sort of kind of, you know?
Yes, so that's, you have happy buyers because the construction, the build time is significantly shortened.
How do y'all offer help to the customer who says, I have to sell my house? And how do y'all address that? Do y'all have programs for those who have to sell a house first?
So the market...
It's kind of like when you buy a pre-owned home. It's like you don't want to put that contingency in there. Is it the same thing for new construction?
It's really the same in new construction. I don't know really, honestly, of any builder in town accepting contingencies. Possibly a home to close contingency. That just means your house is already under contract.
Okay, because I've seen that. It's not contingent on us because everybody's going to sell their home.
Yes.
So I have seen that. So it's mostly your home should already be on the market. You should be able to prove it's in the MLS or whatever, or it's already under contract, mm-hmm. and then you'll accept it.
It's so really
or not.
the lenders, like I can speak confidently with us. With Dream Finders.
That's right.
The preferred lender will put in their pre-qualification letter that they have to sell their existing home. We don't mind if the house is sold a month before closing. That's on the buyer.
That's right.
But the pre-qualification, we understand you have to sell your house. And so we'll accept, a home to close, but this is on a case-by-case basis. Because in essence, you're asking us to take a home off the market,
right.
And you haven't done your homework.
That's right.
And the market is cutthroat. So really, I really encourage buyers that by the time you're looking at new construction, treat it like the resale market as well, because
it's just as competitive.
It's just as competitive.
We're fighting over them.
Yes, we have multiple people interested in one single home.
Yes.
So it really does make a difference for you to do all of your homework before you start looking because of the way the market is. Yeah.
I totally agree. This has been so helpful, I hope, for most of you. It's been very interesting for me. As I love selling new construction, love it. You want to have a realtor with you, as she said, because you don't want the realtor who's just sitting in the background filing their nails or playing on their telephone. You want somebody who's engaged and part of the process. They are your team. They are not the enemy. They are your team. Yes. They are your advocate. They can speak up for you and help smooth things when things get a little bumpy, because things do get bumpy at times. So
absolutely. Yeah.
So there you go. Well, thank you so much, Michelle, for coming.
Me.
I'm so glad you were here. And now here's the fun part.
Okay,
I'd like to ask a little fun stuff so that our audience gets to know a little bit about you. Okay. So first of all, there's a talent that you don't have that you wish you had.
Ooh, a talent probably to speak French.
Oh my, that's different.
Yes.
Parlez-vous français?
Yes.
I went to Paris back in, I won't say when, it was so long ago, just out of high school, and I don't speak French, obviously. And I got off this tour bus. I was with my sister, and somebody says, "Parlez-vous français?" And I went, "What? I don't speak French." Yes. Oh, I always think of that when somebody says speaking French. Yes. So, well, that's so. Speaking French, well, you can do that online.
I can. Yes.
You could. Just got to find the time, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So what advice would you give your younger self, knowing what you know today?
Ooh. Save your money. Save as much as possible. And the concept of compounding interest, they should be teaching this in high school.
Yes, I see that online a lot, that people say, why don't you teach financing in high school, because that's where it really counts. And and it's true. I have to say, I've got a millennial son, and he is all about the Dave Ramsey and saving your money and becoming a millionaire when you're, I don't know what age, but very young. And boy, is he a saver. So yeah. Save your money.
Absolutely.
Good advice. It'll help you buy the house. It'll help you buy the house. So if you were doing something else and you weren't doing real estate, what would you do?
Oh, travel. Something to do with travel.
Something to do with travel?
Something to do with travel. Yes, I absolutely love traveling. My degree is international business.
Oh, yeah.
And I love experiencing new things. And I lived on an island for 2 months.
Oh, fun.
Yes.
Fun.
So just life experience. Just while traveling, you learn so much.
You sure do.
Yeah.
I traveled, like I said, overseas a long time ago, and there's nothing like coming home to America and saying, "Man, I'm gonna kiss the ground I live on." So it's wonderful.
So true.
It's true. Yeah. So last question is, if you're watching TV and a movie comes on and you've seen it before, what movie is it that you're going to stop and you're going to watch it again? Or a book that you love?
So what's funny is I barely watch TV.
Okay.
I barely watch TV.
So there's no movies?
So movies, I mean, I'm always a sucker for Pretty Woman. I don't know what it is about Pretty Woman.
Well, she's pretty.
Yes.
She's feisty.
Yeah, she's feisty, and that's kind of how my closest friends describe me, as feisty. So Pretty Woman, outside of that, Netflix or shows that you can skip through the commercials.
Yes.
I think it's just a more efficient way of watching TV.
That's true. That's true.
There's a handful. I actually, now that I think about it, have watched several over the course of the last year. But that's the way to do it, without commercials.
That's true. Sorry, commercials, but that's it. That's how it works. So well, Michelle, thank you so much for taking your time today to come and talk to us. I hope you've learned a few things. If you want to reach out to Michelle, she's at Dreamfinders. There's a particular location that you're at?
At Trailmark in World Golf Village.
Okay, Trailmark in World Golf Village. It's a beautiful place out there. So give Michelle a call, and don't forget to bring your realtor, and that should be Zelda.
Yes. Yes.
So if you know somebody who's thinking about buying or selling a home in the near future, hey, let's have a chat. And just remember, I'm never too busy for your referrals. Until next time, this is Zelda with Live with Zelda.